I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge Company. The Democratic National Convention has one personal delight for me, and that is Sal Albanese coming back from Brooklyn. This is a profit for everyone. If all our politicians reflected his spirit and integrity, this would be a much better country. You can see he's a favorite of mine. Welcome. I'm delighted that you're here.
Thank you, Ronnie. It's great to be here. It's great to be with you again.
Yeah, well, we spent some good years together.
About 8 or 9,
yeah,
right?
I think you were already in the city council when I was elected.
That's correct.
And then you left...
I left in '97. I ran for mayor,
Right.
and I was kicked
Right.
into the private sector by
Right.
the voters.
I always felt guilty about that because
Yeah.
I never supported you.
That's okay.
But I wasn't very enthusiastic about the person who ran. I don't know where I was. But was that a terrible experience?
No, it was a great experience. I mean, I enjoyed traveling around the city, talking to people. What was negative about it was the fundraising. As you know, I don't like raising money, and when you hire a professional fundraiser, you're told to call people you don't even know. It's just a very uncomfortable experience.
Yeah.
And you know, it was great going to town hall meetings all over the city. I enjoyed that. But it's all about money. You have to get on television. I mean, I was lucky that I had enough money for 1 week of television, and we jumped 11 percentage points in the polls. We went from 11% to 22%.
Oh my God.
And, you know, and as you know, when you represent a district, this is a big city. You're well known in your own little niche there, but the city is so large that unless you get on television, that takes millions of dollars. Even with public financing, it's still impossible to get your message out. But it was a great, overall, it was a very positive experience.
Was it hard to be in a forum when you sort of knew you were smarter than the others?
It was hard.
I don't mean smarter and more capable.
It is difficult. I mean, there are people actually that sound better sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a lot of good sound bites, but when you really cut below the surface, there's nothing there. That's all. You know that from the city council. I mean, so many people can get up and, you know, fire people up, and then at the end, there's no follow-up. Nothing ever happens. So that's frustrating. But that's the nature of our political system, unfortunately.
The empty rhetoric, but it's also the personal ability to look as if you know what you're saying.
Exactly.
To look as if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You're the expert.
Exactly. And sometimes you're not the expert on everything.
Right.
I mean,
on anything.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think the key to being mayor, and Bloomberg has proved it, is being able to go out and bring the best people into government and then let them do their job. And if they don't do it properly, you have to move them out. I mean, I think Bloomberg, to his credit, Mayor Bloomberg has done a good job in that area. He's brought some talented people into the government.
And, you know, John Lindsay also brought talented people in.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I know you were there, right?
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of people. Gordon Davis, this is just
Richard
his staff.
Aurelio, right?
Dick Aurelio was the deputy mayor, Gordon Davis, Nat Leventhal, Peter Goldmark. It had a whole crowd of very talented.
Very smart people.
Yeah, Steve Eisenberg. It was a good group. And then his commissioners were very good, too. But it doesn't matter. If people get a different message, you can knock yourself out.
Absolutely.
And it still isn't going to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lindsay, he had tremendous charisma. I mean, the guy was unbelievable.
Yeah, but they got him, too.
Yeah. I mean, he made some mistakes, obviously. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the snowstorm in Queens was a big problem.
That was a terrible thing, wasn't it? And the strike the first week he came in, but I think he overcame that. But, of course, he also kept the city quiet.
He did.
You know?
He did. He walked the streets during a very difficult
Barry
period.
Goddard just died recently. They were very good.
What did you do for him?
I was called special assistant to the mayor. I was the only Democrat on the staff at the beginning.
Really?
Because they were all Republicans. He later changed, and I staffed health services and just worked on different things. I was the liaison to the gay and lesbian community.
Wow.
I did juvenile justice. It was a whole big portfolio. I had a wonderful time. SROs, the single room occupancy, hotels, things
Two
like
terms?
that.
8 years you spent there? Or?
No, I just came into the second term.
Wow.
Yeah. I organized the Democrats for Lindsay in '69 after he lost the Republican primary.
Right. He ran against Procaccino, right?
Right. It was not very hard.
Right. Yeah.
But let's go back to this. after running for mayor, you just sort of decided?
Well, I just realized that unless you can raise millions of dollars, you really can't play it on the biggest stage. I mean, I just made a decision. I don't want to do that unless there's complete public financing of campaigns. I mean, for the city council, it was perfect. You have two fundraisers, $50 a piece, 400 people show up, and that's it. You raised all your money. You don't need to do that anymore. But running for Congress or mayor, you need millions of dollars. And
now look at the presidency.
Oh, forget it. It's a money chase. I think that's part of the problem with Washington. One of the reasons why I like Senator Obama is because I think he inspires people and he gets people engaged, and hopefully he can break the gridlock of special interest in D.C. and pass things like campaign finance reform and other things. I think he motivates people. I love. I mean, you're a Robert Kennedy supporter. He reminds me of Bobby Kennedy, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like him.
That's one of the best. Me too. And so I early on decided that. I think you did too, didn't you? Pretty early.
Well, very early. Yeah. I was a delegate. I started supporting Obama from the beginning. I contributed to the campaign, and I started getting involved through. I found out about him through Chicago, where my firm is based, and I love the guy, and I think he's going to be a good president. If we're fortunate enough to elect him. Yeah.
Years ago, Studs Terkel told us that there was a young man in Chicago to watch. He was in the state legislature then. It was Obama. So, he just had that. You got that feeling. But then recently we read that the Clinton campaign, one of the things was that they wanted to show that he's overcome with ambition, and so they released the essay he wrote when he was in kindergarten saying,
right, I saw that.
become president. That was really great. So are you optimistic that you think we're on the verge of something good happening in politics?
Cautiously optimistic. I've been through enough campaigns to know that a lot of strange things can happen at the very last minute. So I think that his campaign is flawless. He's got a great message. He's bringing new people into the process. The question is, can we overcome, what I believe will be some dirty tricks at the end, and that's an unknown. I don't know. I thought John Kerry was going to be overwhelmingly elected the last time. I was in Ohio knocking on doors for him because of the Iraq War. I figured the American public could not reelect Bush again after we found out that basically they started a war over lies, and he got reelected. So. I know enough, and so do you, in this arena, not to be overly optimistic. I'm
cautiously optimistic. And this one is complicated also with a question of race.
Absolutely. No, there's no
doubt
about that.
Such an undercurrent, and sometimes very up front.
Well, you saw the New Yorker piece, right?
Yeah.
This week about the fact that he doesn't seem to be going over 50% in the polls, and the author believes it's due to race, that some people just will not vote for somebody who's an African American for president, and that's.
They say that the polling doesn't reflect cell phones. There are an awful. I think that's the fact. There are a large number of cell phone users in this country where they aren't using landlines; they're just using cell phones. So how accurate can a poll be? I'm not sure. I always resort to that with my hopeful optimism.
Well, I really don't know. I don't know how many. I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that are not being polled because of cell phones. Young people, which they tend to be Obama supporters, so that's a good thing. But there are also a lot of people that lie when they're called. When there's, as you know, when there's an African American running or a Latino running, sometimes people tend to be not straightforward in responding to responding to pollsters. They may lie, and some people may not even realize why they don't like a particular candidate. Race is a big. I mean, you saw the New York Times piece this week. They did a poll which showed, I think, 19% of Americans will not vote for someone because of their race. I mean, that's a pretty big number when you.
You're a lawyer. Have you ever practiced in a courtroom?
I've been in a courtroom a few times.
I had a conversation last night with a criminal lawyer.
Right.
Who said that he feels there's a big difference between voters and juries when it comes to race. The jurors really listen, and they have a long time to debate.
Right.
And they've got peer pressure. A voter can say one thing, but goes into the polls alone.
Right.
And doesn't have any kind of pressure around them in order to set their vote. It was I think that's an interesting observation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a very difficult thing. But there's so many young people and so many people who haven't been engaged in politics, which you and I have always wanted to have more of, and had that basic feeling that if there were more people, it would force better practices. Do you think, don't you think they may make some change? I think, in our politics?
I was very heartened by the people in my district that went out and got me on the ballot. It was mostly young people.
And you represented Bay Ridge.
Bay Ridge, Staten Island, very tough district. I mean, we were fortunate. We actually came out of there with 2 delegates, and Hillary Clinton got 3. So we did fairly well, given the fact that it's one of the most. It is the most conservative district in the city by every stretch, by every indicator.
So in a way, you're sort of like Obama in that you can bridge ideologies. What is it?
I don't know.
How did you manage to get elected?
It wasn't easy. I mean, I focused on things that mattered to people. I stayed away from playing games with them and playing the race card and all of that nonsense that comes into playing campaigns. And I just said I was going to be a full-time legislator. I was going to work hard and work on their problems, and I was able to do that. I voted for the gay rights bill and still got reelected when it was a very difficult vote to cast. So I think people are generally fair-minded, even if they disagree with you. If they think that you are honest and doing it because of your strong beliefs, they tend to vote for you. That's what I'm hoping will happen with Senator Obama. They may disagree with him on taxes or something else, and will go in and vote for him because he's telling people the truth. He's speaking in very pragmatic terms. We're in huge debt. We have the middle class is eroding. We don't have health benefits for 50 million Americans. Those that have health benefits are paying more and more every day out of their pocket. And I mean, in the 13th congressional district is a basically middle class, working class district. Heavy labor membership. A lot of probably the largest union membership in the state.
That's
in the 13th congressional district. Yes. And becoming more diverse as well. A larger African American population on Staten Island now. You've got large Asian population, large Latino population. So it's more of a polyglot than it used to be. So, and I think we're going to elect a Democratic congressman.
You have a big race in that district.
Yeah. I think Mike McMahon is probably going to win the primary because he's got the most support, and I think he's going to win. He's going to win the general election.
And that was the Fasella district. That's interesting now when you think back on it, with Edwards and everything else, and all of our morality, the public decisions. It's really incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the sequence of events on this stuff is amazing. I mean, Elliot's speech has stunned me. I was stunned by that.
Right.
I just didn't believe it when I first got an email about it. I thought somebody was playing an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. So he was the first, right?
He was the first.
Did Fasella come after him?
Fasella came after him.
Then Patterson had a press conference to admit his infidelities.
Yeah, and then you have John Edwards.
Right, now we have John Edwards. And all the while, we kept a president in the White House who was truly outrageous, right? It's so funny. You think about it. Part of it, I was surprised at the outcry about Edwards, I must say. And I was annoyed because I thought that all these people on cable television especially, they're so sanctimonious and so puritanical and so judgmental, and I don't think their backgrounds and their lives could stand scrutiny either. So it's a question about what we do. You watch cable television?
Sometimes. I mean, I don't watch Fox that often.
No.
Because
I can't watch it at all.
I agree with MSNBC. It's fixed television.
Right.
So I don't watch that. But sometimes I watch Keith Olbermann. I like on.
So do I. I like Chris Matthews too.
Chris Matthews. Yeah. No.
But they have to fill time.
Joe Scarborough is actually not bad in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. It's a good show.
Yeah, he's a Republican.
But they have to fill time, and it's been a long campaign. So we've gotten all these experts coming on and all these people who are giving us their opinions, and they're picking up every little minute thing. And now they're building this controversy. I think they're building it, I don't know, with Hillary and Obama. Was the distinguishing thing for you the Iraq War?
Absolutely. I thought.
Do you think that the public has forgotten that?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's as powerful as it was maybe a year ago because allegedly things are quieter in Iraq. But I think when you're a U.S. senator, the most important vote, I think...
Two senators.
Yeah, from New York. I mean, the most important vote that you cast is whether to send our armed forces into combat because you're talking about people dying, civilians, our troops, and they were diverted from the real mission, which was in Afghanistan and Pakistan, where bin Laden is still alive and filming every single day. He issues videos, and we went after a country who really was not a threat to this country. I mean, and they lied. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, that's an impeachable offense, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's a criminal offense, don't you think?
And they knew it, and they knew it. I mean, all the evidence points to the fact that they knew. I don't know about Bush himself. He's not very curious, but certainly, Dick Cheney and the people around him.
Rumsfeld, it was outrageous.
Yep.
All these people.
So that was a defining issue for me. I was not going to support anybody for president who supported the war in Iraq. I just couldn't do it.
But now it seems to me the original thing has basically been overcome with McCain's argument about the surge, which I think is ridiculous, because now you read about all the political discord and the difficulties they're having in the country anyway.
Exactly.
But I'm hopeful that people remember that, but I don't know if they do.
Well, I think you're right. A lot of people just remember, last week, which is a problem. They have a short memory. But I think the young people, the activists, are certainly going to remember it. And there are a lot of families have been impacted by the war in Iraq too. I mean, there's a ripple effect.
Well, there was a young man today that's in the Killed in Action column from New York.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know how people can. I always wonder how the families feel when you hear McCain talk about the surge have been successful, and their kids are getting killed. Still
killed. Absolutely.
It is really horrifying.
And Senator Obama delivered a speech, as you know, when the war was popular against the Iraq. And he made a very compelling case.
And he was running for the Senate.
U.S. Senate. That's right.
So that is I agree with you. I thought that was a very defining time and issue and track. I recently saw, I think it was a rebroadcast on Frontline on public broadcasting, the story about leading up to the war.
Right.
And those images of Rumsfeld and Cheney assuring everybody, and then watching the painful appearance of the Secretary of State at the UN. It was terrible.
It was. They destroyed his reputation.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically
as a person. Yeah. So who would you like to see be vice president?
I like Kane from Virginia.
Yeah.
I watched him on Charlie Rose last week, and he was excellent.
He did well, didn't he?
Very, very impressed. I had heard of him.
Yeah.
I think he comes from the state that we need, Virginia. He's very popular, and he's talking about all the right issues. How about yourself?
I don't know. Well, I like people that they never talk about. I like Rendell.
Yeah, no,
I
he's
love
good.
his spirit, and he was such a strong Hillary supporter. I really,
I like
and that's
Rendell.
Another state.
Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. And I like that the governor, Sebelius.
Yeah, from Kansas. She's very good.
And I'm not sure that women would revolt if a woman was nominated. I think that's more Hillary stuff. I wanted to get back to that. I just don't understand the bitterness that the women feel about her having lost the nomination.
Is it widespread, Ronnie?
I don't know. I don't know if that's what cable television has contributed to the cause or not. I just don't know.
I've run into a couple of women who are very bitter about the loss, and they take it out on Obama.
What did Obama do? I don't understand.
He didn't do anything.
It seemed to me the people who were plotting the really nastiest campaign were the Clinton people.
He just ran a great campaign, and he just moved people, and I don't know why there was a sense of entitlement that she should have been the nominee. I mean, she's a very attractive candidate, and I'm glad that she's supporting Senator Obama now. But I don't know why they would be mad at him. He didn't do anything but run a good campaign.
Right.
He never. I don't think he ever attacked her. I think he was on most of the time. The attacks were coming from the Clinton folks.
So it's a very interesting phenomenon.
But I guess being the first female candidate who had a shot at the presidency really.
I wonder if it's older women rather than younger women and all of that. And
some of them are really. I mean, we were campaigning in Brooklyn for Obama when we were running for delegate, and boy, we had two women who were nasty. I mean, they had signs, Hillary signs. They almost clocked one of the volunteers. I couldn't believe. I mean, she has very passionate supporters. Very passionate supporters.
Have you been a delegate before?
For Mike Dukakis one time in 1988.
And what was that convention like?
I just remember Bill Clinton delivering a speech which never
put
ended.
everybody to
which
sleep,
never
right?
ended. Were you there?
No, but I remember it on television.
Yeah.
And the comments afterwards, they said it was terrible. He was the governor of Arkansas.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
I know. Look how he morphed into something. It was really amazing.
4 years later, he becomes this dynamic personality.
Was it as controlled, do you think, as the Kerry? I mean, you watched the convention with Kerry and everything. They've now become so much a spectacle rather than a true convention. It was. Did you? I don't remember the Dukakis convention.
Same thing. It was pretty much orchestrated.
Yeah.
It's,
I was at that McGovern convention, which
that must have
certainly
been
was
wild.
not orchestrated.
Must have been wild.
And it was wild. The women. There was a women's caucus, and we decided to run Sissy Farenthold, who was a state senator, I think, in Texas. We wanted her to be vice president. They, of course, were nominating Eagleton, and there was a whole thing on the floor. And then there were so many arguments with the platform and everything else that poor McGovern didn't get to give his speech, what was they say, till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
I remember that,
and I think that was the turning point when they decided they can't have this anymore. But so what do you expect in this convention?
I'm looking forward to his acceptance speech. I mean, I think he's one of the best orators in the country, if not the best. So, but I don't think anything earth-shattering is going to happen. I don't think we're going to have major demonstrations. I think it'll be very well run, and the campaign is any indication, it'll be very smooth. I mean, these are very highly organized people. I'm sure you do. You get 3 emails a day from them.
Yeah, always.
From David Plouffe, the campaign manager. They
really teased us yesterday with the vice president's thing.
Yes. No, they're excellent.
That was great. When do you think they're going to announce their choice?
It's got to be sometime this week, I would think. Late this week.
For the people who are watching, and you're not on the Obama list, they sent out an email saying they want you to know first who's going to be the choice for vice president. So click here or something like that.
It's amazing.
It is.
So I expect the convention to be very well run,
Yeah.
very smooth.
But very exciting, because it's going to be very historic, don't you think? I mean, the concept of an African American.
It's amazing. It really is. It says a lot about the country, really. I mean, there's, despite all of the problems that we have, I mean, it says a lot that people are willing to nominate somebody like Senator Obama, who's an African American. I mean, which is a major step forward in race relations, I think.
Yeah. You have children. I mean, I think there's a whole different attitude, don't you? It's
Absolutely.
A generational difference about intermarriage with everything.
Absolutely.
Religion, race, nationality, everything. And you can't help but walk on the streets of New York and see that.
You see it, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my wife worked in a high school for many years. She just retired, and she said to me that there's a different mindset amongst young people. They don't see race, they don't see ethnicity as much as our generation did. It's a totally different.
So do you think we're going to
ballgame.
see more distinctions between classes?
I hope not, but if the economy continues to move in this direction, we'll have no middle class. It'll be we'll be like a third world country unless we do something about giving people living wages, decent jobs. Those are the real issues facing the country. As you know, the gap is widening between the haves and have-nots. I think we have to build the middle class up again. With trade unions and
how do we keep
living wages.
The interesting thing is, upper class used to mean true American, right? Usually Protestant, many generations here.
Old money.
Yeah. Upper class is now new money, hedge funds, right?
Yeah.
But how do you keep that down? That's
well, I think that what you do is you introduce some of the ideas that Obama's talking about, raising the minimum wage to $9.50 by 2011, and then indexing it to inflation. I think the key is having a middle class, passing legislation that promotes health insurance for all Americans. I mean, we have to find money for that. There is money. We're wasting money all over the place. Yeah, exactly. I think we have to make housing more affordable. And that's what the country was built upon.
Yeah.
I think, we are an entrepreneurial society, so people shouldn't be stopped from, reaching that pinnacle of success, financially if they want. But at the same time, we have an obligation as a country to take care of people. The middle class built the country, working class, middle class. And going into the inner cities and helping people survive.
We have to find things for them to do also.
Absolutely.
So what does that become? Infrastructure, the greening of America?
Exactly.
We have to go new new
Absolutely.
directions.
We can rebuild the manufacturing base with all this greening
Yeah.
that we need to do to make our country energy independent. I mean, just the insulating new homes, all of that. It's a whole new manufacturing option that we have as a country. You need some new ideas, and I think Senator Obama, McCain doesn't, I mean, he's a great American, but he has no new ideas. The people around him don't seem to generate any new ideas besides, drill off the coast of Alaska. But that's it. I don't see anything coming out of there, and anything innovative. If you look, I mean, you know what Senator Obama's proposing. He's got some very smart people around him. That's another indication he'll be a good president.
Yeah.
He's got some very sharp
smart.
people all around him.
We're almost out of time. What do you think about the city? We haven't talked about that. What's the future here?
I think Mayor Bloomberg is going to leave the city in pretty good shape.
Yeah. And then what happens to it, though?
Well,
unless we find another Bloomberg.
Yeah, I'm hoping that hopefully one of the Democrats that's running can do the job. I mean, I think Bloomberg has set a very high bar for them to hurtle over. But
are we breeding the kind of political figures in this city and state that we should be? I don't know.
Well, there are a few good ones out there, but I'm not, I can't say I'm very excited about our political system in general. I just think it's not drawing the best and the brightest. I think people moving away from it because they don't want to go through these long campaigns where people are probing through every single aspect of your background.
The
candidates. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think people don't want to go through it. I think when we were in the city council, I mean, going back, even when people like Ed Koch, Mario Murillo were there, it seemed to be a more thorough, more knowledgeable
about the
council members about this stuff than we have today. I mean, we have too many professional politicians around.
Exactly, but that's going to be a whole nother conversation.
Absolutely.
A career ladder profession when you go in at the bottom and you want to move to the top. So we're finished. I'm going to see you in Denver.
Looking forward to it.
And we're going to participate in a very momentous thing, and I hope that we are successful in the long run.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sal.
Oh, thank you for having me.
If there are any people you'd like to hear and topics you'd like us to explore, please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.